everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Terry McMacken, a local resident, and for the past few election cycles, I've been hosting conversations like this with candidates. The goal is simple, to give people a chance to get to know the person behind the campaign. This isn't a debate or a gotcha interview, it's a conversation. By the end of the video, my hope is that you have a better sense of who this candidate is, their background and their priorities, and how they approach leadership. The spirit of this conversation is one of curiosity and intentionality, really digging into the nuance and context of why someone chooses to put their name on a ballot and what they hope to accomplish. I have some prepared questions that the candidate received in advance, but we're also going to follow the flow of the conversation, and every candidate has received an invite. If you have any questions after the interview, I would encourage you to reach out to the candidate directly. So with that, thanks for being here, and let's get started. And hello, Dennis, on a lunch break, maybe. I know, I know, we're limited on time, but how you doing today?
I'm good, Carrie. Nice to be here and finally get this done. We've tried a couple times and I've kind of pushed you off, so thank you very much.
No problem. So let's hit the ground running. I would love for you to tell me a little bit about yourself, your connection to the community and what led you to run for municipal office again, because you've already done it.
Yes. Well, I am Dennis Murphy and I'm actually born in Ontario. Okay. Moved here in 1974 and I've been a Petitcodiac resident all my life. I've lived in Ward 2 the whole time. I am married with two children, and the village of Petitcodiac in the community of Three Rivers now has always been very important to me, Terry. And I've been on council since 2012. Really thought with my wife over time about, if we were going to run again. And I guess the reason to run again, Terry, is simple. There's still some things in this community I think I can help out with and get to the finish line. So I'm excited for the new council. I think we're going to have a close election in some wards, which is exciting. And we'll see what we have come Tuesday morning.
It is exciting to have, so many different candidates because there's not really that many votes that you're vying for. Like we're talking about the hundreds here, so a little bit of competition, one that tells me there's a lot of people wanting to step up, which is fantastic. And another too, like it's just an exciting time for our community, I think, because we've been through a lot of transformation in the last 4 years. I feel like you can speak to that better than anybody.
Yeah, it has been tough, joining council in 2012, this new amalgamation, it hasn't been smooth. I don't want to say that it's all been, great. It's tough bringing in, Elgin and then in Ward 1 with Wheaton, Salmet, and Kelms Mills. It is good. I'm not saying what the provincial government did was wrong, but it has been a total different learning curve for all of us. And I think people who sat like Mayor Saunders before would say it's totally different when you're working with four different tax brackets, right? And people from Ward 1 wanting to know, where's my tax dollars going? Where is it benefiting Three Rivers and the community of Elgin, which are all great questions, and to this day, it's still a question, and for the ladies in the office who have to break up these tax dollars and make sure a certain percentage is coming from here, it's very confusing. And, but we're going to get better. And I think we'll have a fantastic group come Tuesday.
And it takes time to build these relationships, right? Like we know Petitcodiac was kind of the service hub for a lot of these smaller communities in the area, but these communities had identities before they were part of Three Rivers. So I feel like we all need to be a little bit more patient, a little bit understanding that, 4 years might seem like a long time, but it's really not when you're merging the books, right?
No, you're right. And Terry, from your stint on council, the public wants us to move quicker, get things done faster, but it's not always that way in municipal politics or provincial or federal, right? We all want to do it quicker, but sometimes, there are different and more red tape out there to slow things down.
It can be painfully slow, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think it's important to understand too that, of course the wards want to be sure that they're represented, in all of the things that are the community of Three Rivers. But these people have never actually had someone that close to them, an elected official, because prior to, this restructuring, their next level of government that they would interact with was their MLA, who does not live in the community and does not have like I say a realistic picture of what the day-to-day life looks like. And so I think it is important again that we have patience, that we understand that there's kind of two sides to every story, and we're just trying to get everything all together and working well. And I think to give you guys credit, I think you guys have done well, everything considering.
Well, thank you. I mean, we're certainly not perfect. We've made our mistakes and ran into our roadblocks, but I think especially in the last year, we've made some really good decisions. Our new CAO was a great hire, and one that council took a long time in getting the right person. And I think Liberty is fantastic. And not that our last CO wasn't fantastic either, but we just needed another body in the office to get things done, to spend more time. And the ladies were so stretched. So I think this gives everybody a designated job, and I think we'll see better things for sure.
That's fantastic. So as we move on to some of these questions, I guess here's one about like your career, whether professionally or personal life. Like, what do you feel in those realms has prepared you for this role in municipal government?
Well, I mean, professionally, I work as a service manager slash sales manager for Burgess Transportation. Everybody who's listened to this, know Burgess as one of the largest employers in our community, and suffering our fire, almost 2 years ago, Terry. But, that I've learned to deal with people. I deal with people. I have a crew of 10 or 12 under me. So I've always been, I think one of my strong suits is being able to talk and trying to get to the bottom of problems without being a major fight or a distraction, and hopefully able to get things done at the end.
I love that you bring up Burgess because clearly I know you work there, and anyone in the community knows about the fire. I remember wiping off like the ash on my vehicle, and you know where I live, the distance from
Mm.
Burgess, and it was such a huge hit to the community. But in these moments is when you see the community shine and people step up. And, I was part of the crew making sandwiches and delivering them to the firefighters. And maybe you can speak a little bit. And I feel like this question really specific to you. I don't think any other candidate could answer it the way you do, but speak to what that community support meant and what that really showed about us as people here.
Yeah, I think, we can talk about the fire of Burgess in the community, and our local fire departments coming from Havelock and Elgin, Penobscot, Salisbury, and fighting that blast. And being a person who's worked there for, I'm a couple weeks away from 30 years, Terry, at one place, and it was just traumatic to all of us. But I will say this, and is that we never missed a paycheck, Terry. We never missed a paycheck. The next day we were there, okay, working, digging stuff out of the fire, working, as the firemen would let us get in and stuff. Kudos to, the bosses at Burgess, Derek and Trevor and Scott, for what they did, and even the rebuild. But getting back to our volunteers, Petty's always special. When there's a tragedy, everybody digs in, right? From, I couldn't believe to hear the next day in your group getting together and making sandwiches and stuff. And it's just, that's why Petty-Kodiak is Petty-Kodiak, right? And if it happened in Elgin, it would be the same thing. Our volunteers are number one, right? In all of our associations.
That's part of the pros of, having a small community is that, we know our neighbors for the most part. We care about each other. We all have a vested interest in, how the community is doing as a whole. And kind of with that as well, you're accessible. People can find you just about anywhere because you live here. I would imagine you get all kinds of people coming to you with issues, complaints, concerns, and some of them are the responsibility of different levels of government. So, do you feel you have a role in those situations to help redirect people, to help educate people, or just, you can do what you can in those moments, but how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, we all as counselors and being a small face of our community get approached at different times, and people want to discuss their issues. And which I don't mind, long as it's done politely and we have a civil conversation. I think one of the biggest things that I get approached on, Terry, and I think all counselors would say, is our roads, okay, and that infrastructure, and gee, this needs done and that needs done, and people need to know, even in our community, anything with a number like 106 or 895, that's all driven by the provincial government, right? And so you're always trying to tell people that we're doing our best, and we have the different thing, as you know, that we repair and maintain some of these roads, but when it comes to major uh, new roads being built, like if the resurfacing on 106 right now, that's all dictated by, the provincial government. So you're always trying to tell people, if you have a concern, reach out to your MLA and see how that works for you.
Even so much as I understand, I'm not sure if it was during my time or before, that you folks tried to actually lower the speed limit coming in on Old Post Road, but because it was a provincial highway, they're like, nope, you can't do that. So it can be really frustrating, but I think it's helpful that, like, part of your job is to actually help direct people to where they can get the answers if it's not something you can do.
Exactly. And yeah, that instance was just before my time, actually. Yeah.
Before both of our times.
Before,
Okay,
that's right. Yes.
perfect. So maybe you can tell me then what you feel like the top three issues are in our community right now.
We have more than three, but the three that I think we want to concentrate the most coming out of the gate, starting in June at our first meeting, library number one. Okay, Terry, I know that it is you know, the big deal in your world. You love the library. I think it is very important to have one, because you're connected. But I think in general, and I believe in other interviews I've heard, we've kind of got a bad rap in the public that maybe we haven't done enough and stuff. And we've tried, as you know, with the church. And I don't want to repeat what other people have said, but to me, the library, we need to get up and going in 2026, right? We need to have a grand opening. We need to get people there. So that's one big one. The other one is, we've had so much positive growth with housing development and stuff in our community, but we need industrial growth. We need to get, I'm not saying we need to have somebody come in here to employ 300 or 400 people, but if we could have a couple business find land to start a small industrial park and get some businesses with 40 or 50 people, Terry, so that people are living in our community and working in our community. Because I would be in the minority, would I not, that I live and work in the same community. Not a lot of people can say that, right? And thirdly, as you know, and I'm so glad that you've become a rink rat to say, the ice plant, it's 51 years old now, right? You did our 50th anniversary. We've got through another year. And that's definitely, we have done, council, we qualified for what was called a CRIS grant, okay, a federal grant, that we had an engineering firm come in and do a study on what we need, improvement, and not only improvements, Terry, for an ice plant, but for a green initiative, okay? What can we do for the better of the environment? Different way to chill our ice and stuff like that. And I won't go into that in depth, but it's very good. So now our next step is, where do we find the funding for $2 million? And that is our project that we need to get on it. And we'll find it, whether it be somebody stepping up with a nice donation or federally, provincial. Again, the community of Three Rivers. Uh, we've done it before with the ice surface, the extension of the dressing rooms. And I know people think, oh, Dennis is just rec or whatever, but I'm not just rec, but I understand the importance of our arena, our swimming pool, our ball fields, our basketball courts. And that's, our infrastructure is aging over there, but it's not dead. We just need to give it a little more life.
And these spaces that you're talking about, and maybe because I'm so deeply embedded in it right now with an 8 and a 10-year-old, these spaces of recreation, like, yes, they're for the physical activity and the sports, but they're really a place for people to connect in person, make new friends. Some of my new best friends are fellow hockey parents, right? I spend so much time in that rink that those connections have integrated into my life even outside of the rink. So I appreciate the portfolio that you have and all of those things that you're looking at. And I feel like we could talk forever about this, and I'm still very conscious of the time that you have. We almost need to do like a part two. Should you get elected again, I will invite you back and we will have this conversation. But on the topic of let's assume you get elected and it is 4 years from now and we are having this conversation, like what would you have liked to accomplish?
I will be elected because nobody is running against me, I guess, right? So, uh, and,
Totally
and,
forgot you are,
and,
yeah, acclaimed.
but, if I could just speak on one thing there, Terry, is that it's great to sit here and maybe not have that nervousness or whatever, but you and I ran against one another last election, and I would like to see more people interested. I would like to be going to the polls, and stuff. So hopefully, as we get into our next election, more people will get out there and do it. But what do I see? What do I want to accomplish in the next 4 years? I want steady growth. I want our community to become bigger. I'm excited with the subdivisions that we're growing here in three different places. Cody Wheaton and his off of Renview Street. I think those lots are going to be beautiful. So we want to continue that. And again, industrial growth. We have to get a couple businesses here. And thirdly, Main Street. Main Street. When people say, "Oh, your Main Street is so cute," but our Main Street could be better, couldn't it? We need to make some improvements and fill those vacant spots. And I want Petitcodiac to be a one-stop place that you can get whatever you need here. And I'm not sure we attain that in 4 years, but we'll see. I think there's a lot of exciting things that the new councilor are going to take on. And our parks, Maple Street is growing every day. The outdoor rink and the Barry family. I mean, we can't say enough about those people and what they do. And you'd love to see that the green flag is up and the rink is open. And, I enjoy the snowshoe trails and walking through there. And it's growing. And I think you'll see in the next 4 years some more growth there.
How many communities can you say have like a single family that single-handedly makes sure that our ODRs are in great shape? Shout out again to the Berries. They're fantastic people anyway, but then like they're doing this kind of above and beyond. They're both, they both have jobs. They have young kids that play hockey. They're just as busy as me and they still find the time. So shout out to them. Um, I'd love to give you an opportunity because again, you reminded me, yeah, you are acclaimed, right? Like nobody's running against you.
Yes.
I would love to give you an opportunity to talk about like future plans for communication because that's been a theme that's kind of come across all of these interviews, and we know that there is no one way or one outlet that everybody's going to get the same information, and it can't just be on the municipality to get it out, but there's always things that we can improve on. So I'd be interested to hear if you have any plans for, different ways to communicate or getting messages out.
Well, I will say that I am on like the Facebook and stuff like that, but I'm not a big Facebook person. I prefer communication face to face. I love our local newspaper. I think that's a great way to get out stuff. I wish people, who are interested in, not everybody complains about council. There's a lot of people who ask me, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? They need to know that they can come, Terry, and listen to a council meeting. Sometimes they're very boring, okay, but sometimes there's a lot of exciting stuff that they can come and listen to, right? So, in the way of communication, to me, face to face, personal, that's the way I like to deal with things.
I like the invite to council meetings because I'm pretty sure you were there when I attended my first one.
Yes.
this little bright-eyed 25-year-old, just my little notepad, and you're all like, what is she doing here? And here
Yeah.
I am, right?
Yeah.
It is a great idea to actually go, and even if you just go to one, just to kind of understand how that process is, but also appreciate the time, the energy, just the knowledge around, especially the staff, like bringing forward recommendations and research. It's very interesting. So I appreciate that shout out and invite that people can actually come see you,
Yeah.
and take that little bit of personal responsibility. Uh, so before we get into the lightning round, I just want to give you a little bit of a platform. If there's anything else you want to say or an issue we didn't talk about, you've got some free space here.
Well, I guess if I had a couple minutes, you know, I've been here 14 years on council. Okay. I've had the luxury to work with three different mayors. I mean, Jerry Gogan and Dan Pollock, and now worship Peter Saunders and stuff. All different, as you would know, attitudes, different. We maybe we're all on the same page, but just did things different. So I'm very lucky to have that experience under me and been guided by three different people. Um, I'm very excited that we've worked hard. You were part of it, Terry. Having a brand new medical center almost completed. It's a great thing for our community, and we fought hard. We fought hard for that building right to the last minute, right to the last minute. And it started 14 years ago with Mayor Gogan beating the pavement. And anytime he could get anybody's ear, it was we needed a new medical center. And Mayor Pollock didn't drop the ball. He kept right on it. And we were at more Horizon meetings and different things, just always saying, if there's a new one, it has to come to Petty. We have the land, we have the infrastructure to do it. And then finally, a little over what, be 2 years ago that the conservative government said it's coming to Petty. And, I have to give a shout out to Sherry Wilson, who was not our MLA at that time, but I can tell you from being involved in it, she stuck her neck out to make sure it came to, her area. She lives in Three Rivers. So uh, what she did for us and working with the mayor and stuff was awesome. So
That's awesome. That's a great way to kind of segue into a couple of the fun things, non-politics. But I want to hear, what is your favorite local place?
my favorite local place to go, well, obviously in the winter, it's probably, the arena. I love to go and stuff. And in the summer, I'm an avid golfer, so the golf course would be my favorite place. Yes,
Second interview today mentioning that golf course. So I know my
yeah,
husband's happy to get out there. I'd rather, sit at the bar there, grab some fries or something. But great that people, frequent the golf course and love it. Um, and maybe you can tell me the best hidden gem in the community. So think of a place that like other people might not know exists or haven't checked out yet.
well, I do some four wheeling, Terry. Okay, the best hidden gem that I can tell you, if you've had a stressful day at work, or you just need to clear your head and get out, is if you took it used to be a trail that went all the way out to the rail bed out towards the golf course. But if you took the trail past the spa building, okay, and it's a marked trail, and then you took, it's a road made to go to the tower, okay, up on Tingley Hill or whatever. If you can get up there, which I do on my bike, and my wife and I have gone several times, and just sit there, you can see the whole community. You can see out towards Elgin. The birds are chirping. It's peaceful. It's a great place for the soul. That is my hidden gem. So if anybody wants to climb up that hill, either you can walk it or take your four wheeler side by side. But it's my hidden gem for sure.
That sounds like a beautiful spot. And I'm glad to hear, like good for your soul and recharge because we didn't get to really get into it in this conversation because we're limited for time. But that I feel like it's really important that people see you as a human with a job, with hobbies, with a family, and all of that. And that you take that time to make sure you're in good shape because that's how you can help other people, right? And then the last question, and I feel like that picture in your background totally gives it away, but who are you rooting for in the Stanley Cup Finals?
Well, I am, as you can tell, I am a diehard Toronto fan. Uh, I said this to a person the other day that all my sporting teams, football, baseball, basketball, have all won since I've been a fan, outside of my Leafs. Okay. Born in 71, they last won in 67. But there is a rumor going around, Terry, that I was photographed in a Montreal jersey not too long ago. Okay. So, hey, they're the only team from Canada standing. So I'm supporting them. Am I a fan? I wouldn't go that far, but it would not bother me if they won the Stanley Cup. So at least we could say we brought it back to Canada.
I need to see this picture. I feel like it'll be used against you when you least expect it,
Oh,
right?
yes, for sure. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the time that we had to chat. Sorry, we got to keep it nice and short, but we can totally continue this conversation another time when we have more time. But anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to say out to everybody who's running on Monday, best of luck. Best of luck to my counselor friends who are reoffering, and good luck. And good luck to, everybody else. I'm proud. I think there's going to be some tight races out there, and I look forward to getting back to work at our first meeting. I think it's the 27th of May. So, and I thank you, Terry, for doing this. This is good for our community.
I'm happy to do my part with my fun little hobby. So thank you again, Dennis, and we'll catch you later. I'll get this uploaded as soon as I can.
Okay, thanks, Terry.